So the last time I made a video like this for Marvel Rivals was way back inside Season 0, and as much as my video did well, to be honest, the settings weren't fully dialed in yet, so if you are still watching that video then it's pretty outdated, but there's been a lot of videos on YouTube since then. But I do want to give you an updated version of what are my controller settings for Marvel Rivals, because there's not a ton of controller players out there playing this game, and the ones that are playing this game are finding it pretty tough to kind of compete with any of the keyboard or mouse players. So with it now being Season 5, and with the fact that we've got a bunch of new heroes that have different playstyles, and also we've had a bunch of new aim settings in this game, especially for controller, it seems like a good place to make one of these videos and just kind of update you on what are the best settings. There is two different options, and I'm going to make these very clear to you as we go through the settings. So after 5 seasons of playing this game, this is my S curve, and it's not really changed very much, to be honest with you. After I've dialed it in perfectly from season to season, it's kind of remained for the most part pretty much the same, but I've just changed some numbers here and there to make it feel even better. Now this is my dual zone S curve. We'll get on into the horizontal and vertical stick sensitivity in just a moment, because that does change from hero to hero. Now when it comes to the actual curve type, this is the curve. You can copy it and you can take a screenshot, do whatever you want. We've got the minimum range set to 30, maximum range set to 90, the curve static set to 50, the maximum curve dual zone curve set to 95. When it comes to dead zones, this is going to be down to your controller, but I have it set to 4. 3 works fine as well. I've just got a new controller actually too. And then when it comes to the max dead zone sensitivity boost, I do have it set to 25, but only for horizontal. I don't like any boost vertically because I don't think you really need it, to be honest. You want that to be nice and linear for the most part. Then when it comes to max dead zone response time, I have this at a short delay of 20 milliseconds, so that when I'm by mistake hitting the sticks left and right, it doesn't just jump right. Sometimes you don't mean to hit your sticks left and right that much, and that is why I have it set like that. However, if you are not as clumsy as me and you don't have that kind of problem, then you can dial this all the way down to 0 and your aim will be pretty much spot on if you've got good aim anyway. Then when it comes to swap left and right sticks, obviously you don't want to do any of this stuff. When it comes to the aim assist window size, I think 30 is the perfect size. Now I did have it set down all the way to 20. I think that's also pretty decent. Anywhere between 20 and 30 is not too bad. Anything above 30 I think is just too much window, and essentially what this means is the bubble around the heroes that you're trying to shoot at is a lot bigger to slow your aim down. And the problem with that is sometimes you're going to get slowed so far away from the enemy that when you take your shot you're still missing. So you want to be hitting the enemy as close as you possibly can to their actual character model, and this is why I have it set to 30. The lower down you go, the closer the aim assist gets to the model, but sometimes you don't actually get very much aim assist at all if you go all the way down to 0, for example. Then we've got the aim assist strength set to 100, because you should do. And then when it comes to ease in, for projectile heroes I have this set to 60, and for hit scan heroes I have this set to 40. Now you won't see that on screen just now because I'm currently stuck on Mantis. So collapsing this down now, and we're not going to touch that anymore because we don't need to set anything here. When it comes to any ranged hero, so if this is going to be a Mantis, it can be Hela, it could be a hit scan hero, it could be projectile based, it does not matter. I have it set to 200 and 160. I think this is absolutely perfect in terms of sensitivity. Now you could play around with this. I wouldn't really go anything below 180 on the horizontal. And I wouldn't go anything below 140 on the vertical. And when it comes to going to maximums, that's just really going to be down to preference. Some people like having their sensitivities all the way up and just moving ridiculously fast. Moving on to a dive or melee based hero, as you can see we've got Daredevil here. And you can see I've bumped up to 260 and 180. Now this allows you to move around a lot faster in and out, especially when you're trying to escape situations and you're pretty much in melee range. Most of your attacks will be melee based as well, so you won't really be missing a ton unless you just got a really awful aim. And the good thing about this as well, like I said, that close range aim assist definitely makes it a lot better. And then obviously we're compensating that turning issue, as you can see, for some extra sensitivity here to kind of offset that. Now I did say I was going to give you 2 settings options when it comes to your aim, and the other one is the classic curve. Now since they added this into the game, it was not always in Marvel Rivals. They had the linear curve, which was just not the best. But the classic curve, even though it's the complete opposite in terms of curve shape to my settings, it actually still feels really good in game. But what you do need to adjust is, first of all, your horizontal and vertical sensitivity. You need to lower this a little bit. And also what you need to adjust is the ease in, right? These are the things you need to change if you're switching to the classic curve. And again, you want to lower this as well until it feels a little bit better for you. Everything else can remain exactly the same because that's to do with dead zones and sensitivity boosts and all this good stuff. So that can remain all exactly as it is. Now, the other thing people don't really talk about when it comes to aiming, and this doesn't really directly affect your aim, but it does indirectly affect your aim, and that is button bindings for certain heroes. So we're talking about heroes with a lot of complex kit, right? Daredevil could be one of them, Gambit could be another. We've got people like Captain America as well, who has a lot of attacks and a lot of buttons to press. And a lot of them are kind of dive-based heroes for the most part, but in general, any hero that has a lot of buttons, you want to make sure the bindings are set specific to you so that you can make sure you've got your aim and everything on point at the exact same time whilst you're using attack. So for example, you can see here I have the objection for Daredevil set to triangle. Now by default it's set to L2 on controller, but I don't really like that. I think it feels better pressing triangle for me because I like using a lot of the other buttons for some of the other attacks that we have for Daredevil, right? So I want to quickly show you my S curve in the firing range, and the reason why I want to do this is because it's actually very, very useful. And the reason why I've picked Mantis and the reason why I've picked Luna Snow as the target to practice against, first of all, Luna is really hard to hit, right? Because she can skate around. The AI moves pretty quickly as well. But when it comes to Mantis's projectiles, they're very small, right? They don't have a really large hitbox, whereas if you're using like Bucky's gun, for example, or if you're using Hela's attacks, they have a slightly larger hitbox than Mantis's attack and also Adam Warlock's. So even Adam Warlock's attack is basically the same as Hela's, just deals less damage. It's actually got a smaller hitbox too, and the reason why it's harder to hit shots with Adam Warlock than it is with Hela, which is kind of ridiculous because both of them should have had the exact same kind of size of hitbox for their primary fire. But like I said, this just makes it a little bit harder for you to hit shots, and it's two good heroes to practice with, right? Now, at super close range, like you can see, that aim assist setting is helping out a ton. I just want to quickly show you this with Adam as well. As you can see, you can hit consecutive headshots or just consecutive shots in general. You want to be aiming for the head for a hero like this, obviously, same with Mantis as well. But I feel like it is a little bit easier to hit your shots with Adam just because he has hit scan, of course. But in general, like I said, this setting is just ridiculously good, right? And if you are struggling, you just could switch back to the standard curve. So there we have it. That is my best controller settings when it comes to aim inside Marvel Rivals. Now there's two options, like I said, both are great, and like I said, even the standard curve is a pretty good option. But like I said, if you want to take your game to the next level, then try out my curve that I have set up at the start of the video, and that one should hopefully help you out just a little bit more to make sure you land those shots. But we will make a video like this probably every 5th season if we get new updates to the settings or aim assist or anything like that. We will keep you updated. But if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.